there is a fine line between bad and good,
Yes.
spoiled and splendid, rotten and fermented. Over the past 8 years, I've been making sauerkraut every other year with a few of my friends, and we make it 300 pounds at a time. This lasts us through the year and into the next, and we are able to produce some of the best tasting kraut I've ever had. Granted, I've never really looked for substitutes. As you might have noticed, I have a very personal attachment to sauerkraut, and this attachment has only increased through my research of it. Sauerkraut is the staple of human civilization, both past and present. Through my research, I have discovered that fermented foods all have something in common. They all have a history, they all have a way they're produced, and they all have some benefits. Sauerkraut is no different. Let's look at sauerkraut's history. You can find the history of sauerkraut in an article entitled Magical Sour Cabbage, How Sauerkraut Helped Save the Age of Sail by Tyler LeBlanc, a freelance journalist posted on the Modern Farmer's website, April 23, 2014. In this article, he relates how it's conjectured that sauerkraut found its origin in China, where it helped sustain the laborers on the Great Wall. Sauerkraut moved to Europe through the hordes of Genghis Khan. They encountered sauerkraut in China and brought it with them to Europe. Then sauerkraut has spread throughout the world. Fast forward to the 18th century and you encounter a man by the name of Captain James Cook. Captain James Cook used sauerkraut in his travels all through the Atlantic and the Pacific. He relied so heavily on sauerkraut, he wouldn't go on his journeys without it. In the present day, according to the U.S. Agricultural Marketing Resource Center, an organization tasked with making reports for the USDA, it reports on its webpage, Cabbage, that 12% of cabbage is converted into sauerkraut and cites the USDA that the annual consumption of sauerkraut is 1.3 pounds per person in the year 2016. That's a lot of cabbage. That's the story of sauerkraut so far. The secret to its success is how it's produced. The process is very simple. 1, you must slice the cabbage up into pieces that you would be willing to eat. 2, you just salt it. This keeps out all the bad bacteria and lets only the good stuff grow. And 3, you have to ferment the cabbage. You seal it off from the oxygen, that way it doesn't rot, it ferments. This process is very easy to industrialize. And by far and away, the largest producer is GLK Foods. GLK Foods produces the most sauerkraut in the world and is located in, who knew, Bear Creek, Wisconsin. Apparently Wisconsin is the largest producer in the world of sauerkraut. At this facility in Bear Creek, it is able to produce 1,200 tons a day. And it stores all these tons of cabbage in these big tankers here to ferment the cabbage satisfactorily. That's a lot of bugs going around in there. I just thought I'd mention that. Because of what it's made from and how it's produced, sauerkraut has some significant benefits. According to my audience analysis conducted on April 10th, most of you were interested in the benefits of sauerkraut, but 13 out of 20 of you were unsure of a disease sauerkraut helps prevent. Sauerkraut is most famous for preventing scurvy. This is why Captain James Cook brought sauerkraut with him on all his travels. By not having a case of scurvy develop among his crew during that time, he made a breakthrough in maritime history. The next thing, a little less known, is sauerkraut can help prevent cancer. In an article by Amit Yaswal and Nisreen Abu Ghanem titled Fermentation Assisted Extraction of Isothiocyanates from Brassica Vegetable Using Box Bank and Experimental Design, published in the peer-reviewed Foods Journal in 2016, they used lactic acid bacteria to ferment cabbage in order to yield isothiocyanates. Cabbage has glucosinolates, which through the lactic acid bacteria are converted into isothiocyanates, which the article references have been well established to help prevent cancer. In conclusion, sauerkraut is a staple of human civilization, both past and present. It has achieved this status through its history, how it's produced, and the benefits. As a final remark, I did not want to do sauerkraut for my topic for this speech, as our teacher can attest to. I thought it'd be really boring, but what I was missing is that topics aren't boring, you just don't know enough of the details about them. Once you spend the time learning the details of the subject, you realize your topic won't be rotten, it will be fermented.